Howdy, fellas. Can I get you a drink? Am I an extraordinary man? Yes. Am I an ordinary man? Yes.
Hello everybody. Welcome back to the system. I'm Michael Creates. I hope you're all doing well. We are so fucking back. Now, just to preface, I did research while writing this new video essay, Return to Form, to see if the absolute GOATs, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, are still the creative heads of Sony's Spider-Man rights and projects. Apparently, they were let go from this television deal a couple of years ago due to the typical creative differences excuse with Spider-Noir. Just makes me wonder, do they really deserve Spider-Noir? Lord and Miller do. Of course they do. Me and you do. Of course we do. But the people who don't understand the soul of Spider-Man, they don't deserve the creative rights. Nay, not even the right to enjoy it. Before I get into all that,
well, let me tell you something.
We deserved this. I've always loved Spider-Man. Most of the world does. I mean, hell, have you watched my channel? But I also grew up with Spider-Noir. Shattered Dimensions. A high-octane, highly comic-accurate incarnation. That means all the tragedy, Vulture, not included in Spider-Verse and this series. It's one thing to have the red and the blue, the anime girl, the pastel Spider-Gwen, whatever variant floats your boat. The hope, the quips, and the jokes against hell. A practically pastel backdrop compared to Noir's. It makes him just as deserving to wear the mask and swing from the webs as any other version of himself. In a world and a time where heroism is exceedingly rare, Spider-Man has always felt more necessary for his New York. There isn't a team of Avengers that can swoop in if Peter's busy. Trust me, I searched it up. As I started watching this show, I honestly had mixed feelings. It was clear and obvious to me that this was a different take. Completely different origins, from Man-Spider giving him his more favorable powers later in his life during the war, to his late fiancée Ruby, telling him the ever so poetic adage of "with great power there must also come great responsibility," instead of the typical, more appropriate Uncle Ben, or, as of recent years, Aunt May. I didn't even think Nicolas Cage could fit with these aesthetics as well as he ended up fitting into them. I imagined maybe a Joseph Gordon-Levitt type, which I know is quite a popular fan casting from what I've seen online. People often attribute it to his work in Sin City, which I know is craziest filmmaker that I have not seen yet. Also, to go into the real world for a moment, I feel like comic book mixed with film noir is something that can be more easily grasped by any actor compared to just flat-out comic book adaptation. Though I think Mr. Cage said it best. So I'm sitting here with Nicolas Cage, starting in the new series Spider-Noir. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing good. So excited to see you. So what was it about Spider-Noir that felt different from any character you played before?
Well, it was an opportunity to embody some of my favorite style of film performance in terms of 1930s, 1940s golden age actors like Bogart and James Cagney. And the idea of colliding that with a pop art sensation like Spider-Man to me was almost like a Liechtenstein painting.
Wow, I love that. Well said. And I really love the visuals. The visuals of the show look incredible. Did filming in black and white affect the way you approach the character in any way?
Darren, the director of photography, he lit it to look like an old noir movie, and I performed it like an actor from an old noir movie. But you can watch the movie, or the series rather, in color as well, and even that has a noir attitude in the lighting. We call it true hue, and it almost looks like a Hopper painting.
He locked the fuck in for this performance. And I have no idea why I was surprised. No idea. Maybe just because it's been almost 20 years since he disappeared in a comic book role with Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider, but he is truly a chameleon of an actor. Or as I like to say, storyteller. That's the term I prefer anyways. I really wish I could truthfully say that I've seen all his filmography. I haven't, but though I haven't, from what I've seen like with Ghost Rider films, one of my favorites called Adaptation, 2002, Long Legs, of course, American Treasure, The Croods.
I call it a rug, rhymes with grug. I call this one a ride, rhymes with grug.
That doesn't really rhyme.
Call this an air fryer, rhymes with grug.
Ooh, I like that one.
I call this a shorty cow.
What?
Rhymes with grug.
Where are you getting these things?
Call this one the Southern Border Crisis.
Oh!
Rhymes with grug.
And everything else outside of these that I wish I have seen. I think he fits that too loosely given term of chameleon with his work, overall, but especially in this show. Full Cage Nick Cage was, of course, the first on the call sheet, and the star, but a major reason I fell in love with this very faithful, but also extremely refreshing and new live-action Spider-Man story is the supporting characters and world surrounding him. Brendan Gleeson, I was not familiar with your game. He can be traced to any fantastic and memorable film noir gangster that leaves a bitter taste of rot in your mouth after watching how amazing their performance was. He portrayed a contrast between his near soullessness and his almost Sinister Six's soul. Megawatt's a right fucking prick, but you can get the vague feeling that he wasn't always like this. For Sandman and Tombstone, they are the tragic villains I've been wanting to see again faithfully for so long. For Sandman, honestly, I think it hasn't been like this since maybe Spectacular Spider-Man. For Tombstone, I would say the same.
The Man Who Fell from Earth. This is a grounded take on Sandman. Flint Marko isn't a villain. He's a dock worker who was exposed to an illegal silo of experimental industrial compounds intended for construction. The theory is that the chemical bonding didn't give him powers, it's slowly killing him. His body is unstable, crumbling into sand and dust whenever he gets stressed or angry. He's not robbing banks. He's just trying to find a cure before he dissolves completely. The mob is exploiting him, using him as a weapon of mass destruction because he can't die.
They did not ask for the hand that they were dealt with. In a time where people of color were thrown to the side like they were dirt, there was a power in Lonnie's scream when saving his fellow soldier, Peter Parker. There was a power, raw and unfiltered, in when Flint tried to stop Megawatt and tragically failed to do so before being saved by Ben. And the femme fatale, the one who is yet to don the black cat costume, perhaps in season 2, Cat Hardy. She puts both Ben and Finbar Silvermane into false senses of security. She manipulates and lies because she has yet to get one more score, one more win for the board, and this time it's vengeance. Last but certainly not least was Ben's support system. The kid on the streets he sees his younger, far more hopeful self in. Janet, one of the most wholesome sister and brother-like platonic male and female on-screen friendships that I've seen in quite a long time.
Is there anything you came up with as far as their relationship goes, or even just Janet as an individual, that maybe we don't see or hear about directly in the show, but we can still feel you holding tight to and informing your performance?
My biggest question when I got the part was like, why does she stay? What is it about this position and this person that, because I could see it in the writing, like she loves him and she loves this job, but she loves this job with him. Why? And I very quickly realized, and this was my engine for the entire for the entirety of her character and him. It actually harkens back to Isaac Gomez. It's like there's something about being a woman in the 1930s. Like, what options does she have? And she's such a capable, she's the smartest person in the room. But sometimes it takes it, not sometimes, it does. It takes community to allow you to expand completely in yourself. And don't get me wrong, Janet doesn't need anybody, but she's authentically herself, and I think she was going to do that no matter where she went. But she found a person. They've known each other for 10 years. And she found a person that says, "You are the smartest person in the room. And yeah, you're my secretary, but like, what should we do?" And like that value and that reflection and that care, like, it's we need that. We need people who do that for us. And I think for Janet, it's like, I think she knows the world that she traverses, and it's rare.
Hmm.
It's rare for somebody to say, "I see your capability and not just your potential, but like who you are, and have at it." And she's like, "Yes."
And man, Lamorne Morris as Robbie Robertson, Winnie the Bish. Man, they could have done J. Jonah easily, very easily. But Robbie's core of fighting for the good of the people to get their voices heard, having a high amount of empathy in a world where possessing such an ability was incredibly dangerous, it makes the character even that more palpable, tangible, and real. For 8 episodes, to steal a line from Coy Jandreau of Real Rejects, I was entranced from the first intro to the last. I belted the words of that damn song every time. Also in the Real Rejects reactions, they were saying how the intro set the viewer up for a more fantastical time, maybe even a more joyous time. That due to that fact, they had to shake out of that expectation sometimes due to the tragic nature of the plot lines in the show. While I was inclined to agree with them, I felt that R&B artist Kirby, who sings the intro song Saving Grace, has a twinge of pain mixed in with the feeling of hope in the instrumentals and of course the lyrics. I belted that shit with just as much emotion as I laughed with the characters or felt for them. It set me up for a mix of pain and hope. And come on, man. That's the Spider to a T. Another great thing this incarnation added that Spider-Verse and Shattered Dimensions did not have was a heavy, heavy grief aspect. In this case, in the form of Ruby J. Williams, an original character made for the series. Trust me, I searched it up. Grief is of course a major part of the core of why every spider is who they are. But there's a certain level of dramatization to it that adds a flair to it unique to this incarnation. It's classic film noir exaggeration and a flair for the dramatic, without being overpowering too much. It always felt, yeah, see, without being too, yeah, see, you know? Like I said earlier, there's more of an accessibility to this. Not just for casting crew who maybe aren't as heavy fans of the quote-unquote Marvel formula as say I used to be, but also for the casual viewer as well. Film noir has almost always been an avenue for potential social change. Simply put, it's always been ahead of its time due to commentary on the mental health and psychological concepts. In the series, they deal a lot with a few. It deals with depression in very profound ways. It was of course mainly of the times as depicted in the Great Depression, but still quite impactful and poignant. Ben Reilly deeply, deeply wants to fight the corruption and the deep-rooted evils in his New York. But my interpretation of this is that he was scared to put on the mask again, to allow the spider back into his life again, because as much as he doesn't want anybody knowing, the whole world in fact, it means he's finally beginning to heal. that he's a good man who deserves to. That no matter the universe, there will always be someone with the soul of a loner who will always find the strength to keep going, to keep trying, always. That's Spider-Man, and we'll always need that. We deserve Spider-Noir.
I love you all. I'm taking this cube thing with me. I don't understand it, but I will.
The pain doesn't completely go away. You just accept it. You just live with it. The spider saves him from himself. We need messaging like this more often, especially in comic book film and television, which is not as widely accepted by casual audiences. We may not be heroes. I think everyone, like me, who's a nerd and a geek with this sort of stuff, used to think they could be. I vividly remember my 5th birthday party. Sure, there were my family, the childhood friends and classmates and their parents, but there was also Spider-Man. We live in a co-op neighborhood, and it was hosted in the co-op space down the street. A place down the street where you can rent the space out for birthday parties and such. I remember imagining him doing the parkour on the way to the building, zipping from building to building. When I was that young, it was that simple. I was there. My hero was standing right in front of me. A hero I thought I met when I was 5. And now I'm here, and I'm 20 years old. Thinking back to that day, as I do somewhat often, and I know, in my heart, that a hero is the one who perseveres, one who gets back up, one who needs the masks, and uses it well, but not in service of their real strength. Their heart. I'll close out with a real-life hero who instilled these ideas in me in retrospect by creating the character in his core beliefs. Stan Lee. The person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it is the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero. With that being all said and done, I've been Michael Crates, and you've been part of the system. Bye-bye!
And so ends one of the most titanic team-ups of all time. And what have we learned here today, Marvelites? That no matter what corner of the cosmos you may find yourself in, there'll always be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to save the day. And to all of you web-spinning wonders, I proudly say, Excelsior!